Hello everybody, this is Daniel, bringing you guys in our Package Lab. Today we're going to be going over configuring DHCP with Cisco iOS. So DHCP, pretty straightforward to set up, really not a whole lot going on. Really all it comes down to is exclusion, setting up the pool, setting up the default router, and then a DNS server maybe, but besides that they don't really ask you to do much in this lab at least, or rather in this module I should say. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started here. So step one, configure excluded addresses. So it looks like we're going to be doing this on R2. So if you want to exclude addresses, you got to do IP DHCP excluded address. That's going to be your command for excluding addresses, obviously. And what is this? From the R1 and R3 lands. All right, so we're going to go 10.1 to 10.10, I believe it said first 10 addresses. Yes. So basically you can get all 10 of them knocked out with this one command instead of having to type them one by one. And let's go ahead and do the same thing for R3. Hopefully this isn't mind-boggling to you about how I came up with those first 10 addresses. Alright, so we're done with that. Let's go ahead and create our DHCP pool, IP DHCP pool R1 LAN, I believe, should be your command. And we're going to want to include a network address along with the subnet mask. So our networks can be 192.168.10.1, 255.255.255.04 R1. And what else? Default gateway. So default router, not default gateway. Your command here is going to be default router. Oh, shoot. Just realized I screwed up here. No network. Pretty sure it doesn't matter, but you know, I kind of like doing everything right. So let me just change this to .0 really quick, because that's the actual network address, not 10.1. And what else? First IP, sorry, no, not the first IP address, the address of the DNS server. So DNS server, that's your command for configuring DNS servers. It's 2254. Alright, got the points. Now let's go ahead and just rinse, wash, repeat for R3 LAN. Really nothing too crazy going on here, except me not being able to type properly. So same deal going on here. Let's make sure we put the network address right this time, except with where we will put 10 before, we're just literally putting 20, and that's 30, I mean, and that's about it. Default router, 192.168.30.1, and then DNS server 62254, and bam, we're done with that. And if you're wondering how the router would differentiate between when to use each of these pools, well, it would if we go ahead and look at our running config here. What do I want here? Include interface. Include interface. Section interface. Whatever. Begin interface. So how it would decide to choose which DHCP pool to use? Well, it sees here. So where does it see it? Where are the connections? This is actually kind of important, so I'll make sure you guys get it. So it knows that the 192, if maybe it's better if I just do show IP route, guys. Sorry. Right, so it knows that the 192.168.10.0 whatever is connected through serial 000 this way. So any DHCP packets it gets through relayed over here. It knows that it's going to want to send a 192.168.10 over here. It knows that 192.168.30.0 is over here. So if it gets a DHCP packet relayed from over here, it's going to want to give it an address in this subnet. So that's how it's determined. If it's directly connected to the router will obviously basically work along the same lines of this, where let's say now we're connected to here is 192.168.10.0. Well, the router knows that it has to hand out IP addresses in with the pool that has 192.168.10.0 addresses to that specific part of the network, or rather the network that's coming off that particular interface. And then let's say 30.0 is coming off of this end. Well, it's just going to be able to know that it has to hand out the DHCP addresses in a pool 192.168.30.0 going off of that interface to that particular part of the network. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff. So you can set up as many DHCP servers as you want, as long as the router's able to tell when to use it, when not to use it. Moving on here, configuring R1 and R3 as a DHCP relay agent, right? So remember that DHCP discover messages are broadcasted and they are dropped at the router interface. If we want them to be able to continue on to this R2, how do we say this, DHCP server, I guess, in this particular network, we're going to want to go into the specific router interface. So I think it's G01. I'm not too entirely sure. And then type in IP helper address and then the address of the DHCP server. So in this case, I think I want to say 10.101.2. It's not right. Why is that not right? Let me see here. This is S000, no? Yeah. So if I do a question mark here, this IP destination helper address should be the destination, which is a DHCP server, obviously, right? So I'm trying to think here about what I'm doing wrong, because I think that should be the correct address, at least for R1. Let me see, let me verify to make sure that G01 is in fact the interface we should be dealing with here. Oh, it's not. Well, that explains a lot. Okay, so yeah, G01 is not even connected to anything. Sorry guys. I knew it was connected serially and that G00 is probably being used, but whatever. So IP helper address goes on here instead, I think. Yes, there we go. Because G00 is where this PC is connected to, right? So it gets dropped at G00 normally, but if we configure a helper address, this router will now know to forward broadcast over to R2. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for R3. Except obviously this time we're using a different IP. We want it to be the IP address of R2 serial 001. That's where we want it forwarded to, the DHCP discover broadcast. So I'm gonna guess it's gonna be G00 again. And I'm gonna put helper address 10.2.2.1. Yeah, I saw a flicker. Oh, 2.2. Oh, oops. So I was looking at R1 here, but it should have been R2's S001, so I put .1 instead of .2. Oops. My bad. Okay, so set PC1 and PC2 to receive addressing information from DHCP. Let's go ahead and do that. DHCP. Go ahead here and click DHCP. Let's go ahead and fast forward time. Okay, looks like both of them got the right things they needed to, because we just got a heck ton of points. And then configure an R2 as a DHCP client. Alright, so let's go ahead and get onto G01. I think that's what they want us to connect to. Go ahead and no shut this. And IP address DHCP. Maybe I should have done it the other way around, but whatever. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Got our DHCP address, and we have full score. So just for kicks and giggles, I'm just going to go ahead and run the show commands. So show IP in brief. So yeah, we got an IP here assigned by DHCP. Method DHCP. And show IP DHCP binding. And we can see that both of our PCs have gotten IP addresses as listed right here. And if you want maybe a clearer view of that, yeah, there we go. So that shows that our PCs got the addresses they needed. And I'm not going to go ahead and ping because that's just going to be wasting all of our time. So yeah, that's it for DHCP. Nothing too crazy. And if you are having trouble remembering new commands, like what command sets up the router, what command sets up the DNS server, whatever, just recommend you just go over this lab over and over again, because this is pretty much it. That's all you're going to be asked for as far as CCNA goes, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, thanks for watching this, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.